AI has come on pretty strong, artificial intelligence, in a wide variety of ways in our lives. And for us as educators, we're just trying to figure out what to make of it and how it's going to impact the classroom and how it should impact the classroom. And so lots of us are really just trying to wrap our brains around it and what its place is. And I think the more that some of us start to use it, we start to see some things that are a little unsettling. You know, a lot of the artificial intelligence tools that are out there right now are still sort of in their infancy, and they've still got a long way to go. And when you start to learn about the data sets that artificial intelligence is trained on, you start to see that they are incomplete, that there are gaps, that certain perspectives and certain voices are sort of bigger and other ones are smaller, which means that there's bias baked into artificial intelligence from the get-go. And I think a lot of us see that and have concerns about that and are trying to figure out what we can do about it and are trying to learn more about it. And have I got good news for you, because I've got someone here who has been thinking about this an awful lot. She's been doing some of her own research and looking into things and has been trying to help students and herself and her school navigate all of this. And so we've got Jean Darnell with us today, who goes by Awaken Librarian on Twitter. Jean, thank you so much for joining us. And can you tell everybody just a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. I am a librarian, school librarian, a middle school librarian. Just let that sit for a minute. I'm a middle school librarian in Austin, Texas. I'm originally from Houston, so I might have some friends that recognize me from Houston. I migrated in 2021 to Austin, and I have been your savior of books. Books, literacy, technology, it's all in my wheelhouse. My master's degree was, of course, in information science from the University of Houston, Clear Lake, but I also went the extra step to do media technology because, hello, that's our world right now. So I had to understand how to use it and manipulate it so I can, teach it to the kids.
Yeah.
That's a little, I'm a parent, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, a budding fashionista. I do it all. Modern day Renaissance woman, if yes. I can be so cliche.
No, I think that sounds accurate. And the fact that you just said I'm a middle school librarian, let that sit for a second. Like, my wife has taught middle school for lots of years, and we just feel like there's a special place in heaven for folks that love middle school kids. Like, you got to be just the right kind of person to get their unique blend of eccentricities and everything. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, you got to have that kind of wild flitter or glitter in your eye to let them know, like, hey, I can be nice, or I can get down in the mud with you if you want.
Yes. Yes.
Just to keep the kind of, intensity that you need, because that's the level that they're on. Their hormones are fluctuating all over the place. So yeah, there's a special badge of honor that I feel like we deserve. That's why our summers are so important.
Yes, 100%. Now, Jean came onto my radar when she wrote this post that got republished by PBS, and it was about, I mean, just the topic of our conversation today. It was about the bias that's sort of, cooked into artificial intelligence from the very beginning. And, some of the places that you had discovered it and how it kind of like, there was a nexus between like the bias in your classroom and the kinds of things that students might use it for and everything that was sort of unsettling. So I was wondering if you could just kick all of this off a little bit, telling us about some of the things from that article, maybe telling us about the essay that you had artificial intelligence write, just so we kind of are caught up to speed.
Sure. When I first kind of came across AI, it was just released in November, everything was blowing up, and it was February, Black History Month. And so I'm definitely the type of person that will hear something. I'm like, okay, I'm immediately going to use it in a classroom. I have to, because I always want our kids to stay on cutting edge. So I got on to ChatGPT/OpenAI, and I was like, let's see what they have to say about Black history. We know that it can write essays, and I wanted to see what it had in its kind of wheelhouse, so to speak, for Black history. I hoped that it was going to give an even-keeled essay, even a 5-paragraph essay. My English teacher heart doesn't like 5 paragraphs, but hey, I was like, even if it's a 5-paragraph essay, I'll take it if the content of it was good. And so I put it in there, put my prompt in there, write an essay on Black history. And what I got back was, let's just say it was less than desirable. They had the highlights as far as the big wigs, like Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King. And they had, of course, the enslavement that happened to us here in America. And then they had civil rights and Katherine Johnson, scientist, Thurgood Marshall, and then that was it. And I was just like, hold up. I took personal offense to it because I was like, there's so much that was missing from that essay that is pivotal, like non-negotiable factors in my culture. And so I was like, no, this is not going to work, because my biggest fear with AI, I think it's great. I love interacting with it and I love the exploring. But my biggest fear is that robots carry the same prejudices, biases, whatever type of moral code that is damaging to people that look like me. And so I was like, no, we're not going to go into the virtual realm carrying the same kind of albatross around our neck that, happened here in America. I did not want that. So immediately, true to my librarian / English teacher form, I was like, nope, this is a blog post. I have my information. I was I already put out my newsletter for Black History Month, but I was like, nah, this needs to go. This is
special edition.
We're in the formation of it, and I wanted our voices to be included correctly.
Yeah. It almost sounds like what you got back was kind of like from one of those little, pre-packaged Black History Month, like here's a package of posters that you can put up in your classroom that has like all of the same old, like tropes that have been trotted out about Black History Month that just kind of like gloss over the reality, that makes you feel safe, that make you feel comfortable, that, don't give you the unsettled feeling that you should have about looking back at all of that. And like, don't we aspire to more than that? Is that sort of like how you were feeling when you saw the results?
Absolutely. And it wasn't, I didn't like, in addition to the sanitizing, I didn't like, it just wasn't true all the way. We have to, in essence, for you to truly be intellectual, you have to critically analyze not just the good, but the bad and the ugly, because that's how you circumvent repeating the same, troubles that we had of yesteryear. And, in the Black community, those troubles of yesteryear, whether a 200, 300, 20, 30 years ago, even 5 years ago. So, a lot of the stuff that we hoped had changed, we realized was really kind of smoke and mirrors. And I did not want, I couldn't handle it. I really couldn't. And I was like, well, this is your platform. This is your voice, build the table if there isn't a seat for you. And so I got on my blog and I built my table.
There you go. That's right. And that table, we're like mixing metaphors a little bit, but I'm going to roll with it. Like that table really sort of like got you some attention, and obviously, is published on the PBS website right now. If anybody wants to go read that post, first of all, it's very well written and also includes a link to an assignment that we'll touch on that in a little bit. But, hearing you talk about this, I think just starts to, it continually highlights some of the things that I'm learning about artificial intelligence too, is that AI is only as good as the data that it's trained on. And when you start to hear some of the places that, like ChatGPT, for instance, when OpenAI was creating its data set, they were basically like pulling in all of the data that they could find from all of the places that they can find. And a lot of it came right off the internet. Some of it came out of published books. I mean, wasn't necessarily from vetted sources. It was kind of like, it's kind of like those fish, those bottom feeding fish that will eat anything that comes across them. And so they end up eating trash too. It kind of reminds me of, there's an old saying in computer programming culture called GIGO, GIGO. It stands for garbage in, garbage out. Like, it's almost like saying, you know where I'm going on this, right? Like, it's like saying your response that you get out of it is only as good as what comes into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I keep thinking about that when it comes to the data sets,
Well,
because you've
it's just
got
like your body. Whatever you put into your body is what it uses to
Mhm.
make fuel and cells. And if you're putting junk into your body, then that's what you're going to get out. You're going to get a junky response, whether
Yeah.
that's a cramp or, what other kind of ailment it is. So it definitely garbage in,
Yeah.
garbage out.
Yeah, and so if the junk, like you said, that you would like feed into your body, if that's the way that the data set for Chat GPT's underlying artificial intelligence, if that's what it's been nourishing itself on, then what do you expect? If I
Exactly.
sit on the couch and I eat Cheetos and chocolate bars all day, like I'm gonna start to turn into a certain kind of unhealthy version of myself. So like it makes me think. I wonder, tell me what you think about this too. Like, I've got to think that one of the skills that I hope that our students take away going forward is that we're judicious about the data sets that AI brings to the table. I hope that we get more transparency about that. And I hope that we select tools and models that use better versions of data sets that put out more things. That's like me looking into the future. What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree. You got to check your sources, cite your
Mhm.
source. I want to know when I put in this prompt, where did you give me the source for this prompt?
Yeah.
What would give me the top 5 sources that you use in order to,
Mhm.
give me this information. It's no different than when I teach my students the integrity that you have on clicking on a website. Now, is it an opinion? Is it an academic website that you're looking at? Check the veracity of it, because anybody can get on the internet and put anything. Just like I can get on the internet and say whatever I want to say about the library. But where my truth and credence comes in is because I have the 20 years in education, the last 10 years being a librarian. So that's when you start getting the veracity and what that person is typing. I'm on the front line. So what I say about the library is coming from a real experience. And so we need to have that same framework, that same kind of mindset when we're looking at AI. And so when I was doing that article, the first thing I did is I did investigative journalism. I got down in there. I was like, okay, well, who was on the committee that decided to do this? I wanted to look at the faces that were inputting that information into AI. And I didn't see faces like mine. And so I was like, oh, brother, that might be one of the reasons why we got this sanitized version of Black history. Well, there wasn't any, voices included that were from the African diaspora. So I had to take that into consideration. And that's what I want people to do when they get this information from AI. It's great, it's fun, but is it a proper citation? Is it a
Yeah.
proper information that you have dug deep into? And that's how kids can use it. Yeah, you can from the big idea take it down into something smaller that can help you. But in that same breath, you have to make sure that what you're speaking is true or as close to truth as you can get it. And that's what
Yeah.
we have to look at when we look at with AI. We just have to put that critical analytical lens on, or else it's going to be garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It makes me think going forward, like we've got all of these questions, and I hope that our students learn to ask these questions too. I mean, I respect the folks who have worked on this, for years
Absolutely.
and years and years to make this technology and to put it out there into the world. And, it's a risk putting something out here that's new. And we've got to realize that there are going to be gaps, there are going to be problems and all of that. And, it's kind of our job to
Absolutely.
notice that and call it out and take a stand. And then it's their job, hopefully, to continue to improve on it. And so, that kind of brings me to my next question. I was just talking about how I hope that our students ask these questions and they learn how to ask them, and, they see it modeled by educators like you and everything. So my question for you is, if this is reality right now, that we have these AI models that show bias in a variety of different ways, what do you think we can do? You know, either your students or us as teachers or just us in general in society. What is our role if we want to aspire to something greater than this, and we don't have, you know, we can't touch the code of Chat GPT, but we're users and we have a voice and everything. Like, what would you suggest that people do?
Exactly what I did. Investigate, get involved, start learning about ChatGPT, learn what the system is. Don't be afraid. Don't run. Don't stick your head in the sand and say, oh, this is too much. This is progress. This is what it looks like. It's not going to change. It's not going to backpedal. We have opened Pandora's box. And so now we have to kind of contain the dragon, for lack of better words. We have to train our dragon. I know it's a movie, but we do, because it can run amok. And that is what we're doing right now. That's what I did is, okay, I found this out with ChatGPT. I did not like what I saw, but before I go hog wild and say, oh, it's not worth anything, blah, 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 I need to get involved. And so I enrolled myself in an AI boot camp. I was like, no, we're going to get down to the bottom of this. I need to understand the frameworks so that I can best make the suggestions needed to correct it. And so I got knee deep in the mud. I fervently believe you cannot complain without some type of solution. And so that's what I teach my kids. You got a problem? Okay. Now, how are you going to solve it? What are the steps that you're going to take? What's the hypothesis, or what's your clue on where to begin? And then get involved, get knee deep in the mud and start learning the system, or in this case, learning AI. So I enrolled. I took a 6-week course and I was there every week for 4 hours learning about AI. And I was excited. It was an awakening, for lack of better words, in my brain. I'm like, okay, I see where we're going with this. I know that we already have AI in our life right now. When you say, hey, Siri, hey, Alexa, that's AI at work. So it's here. We're already using it. We're GPSing my automatic blind spot notification on my truck. All of that is AI. So the kids need to understand you're already immersed. You're submerged in the world of AI, whether you want to wake up to it or not. And so in order for it to be the best that it can be, you need to give it critical feedback with knowledge. Never, ever be afraid of the knowledge part. And so, yeah, those are the tangible steps that you can do. Get involved with it, mess around with it, play with it, bring the fun, the creativity, the newness that it needs. I mean, yes, we had AI engineers and they're doing a great job, but they've with it all the time. So sometimes they might have blind spots, or, you know, they get tunnel vision in what they're doing, and they may not see the outside perspective that a new, fresh voice can offer. And so that's what I would tell my kids. Get knee deep in the mud, get involved, and start changing what you don't like to see, or speak up about what you're seeing that is, you know, off-putting, because using your voice is what's going to make the, you know, the ripples of change happen.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. See, I love what you're saying there about how knowledge is an important part of the equation. I mean, because we've got people who will, you know, roll up to a conversation and say, I don't like any of this AI stuff. I wish that it would go away. It rubs me the wrong way. It makes me feel wrong and everything, but they don't really know anything about it. And they haven't even tried it. And probably all that they know is, you know,
what they heard on TV.
I was going to say, on one of those like biased to one side or the other type of news organizations, like it's telling them things about it that they don't like. And they just run with that one little source and that tiny little bit of information. But like you said, I mean, you're not going to break the AI by trying it, and you're going to learn something about it whenever you try it. And then you can also go to a variety of different sources of information to better understand what it actually is. Like whenever I get the opportunity to talk to teachers about AI, one of the very first things we do is we do definitions. You know, like, what are some of the words? What is this built out of? Like, what do you need to know? Then let's have a conversation. Then let's talk about what are the implications in class? How can you use it? What are your concerns? But we got to get like the basics. So I'm with you there. Like knowledge is the key, I think.
Knowledge, and the same thing, I hate to say this, but it is April and it is School Library Month. And so I have to say the same thing applies to books. and book
Oh,
bans.
yeah.
So if you want to ban a book, the first thing you need to do is read the book.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so that you have evidence to substantiate your argument. If your argument is, I hate this book because XYZ, the XYZ needs to make sense. If you just say, I hate this book because last night on the news it said it had this. And I'm like, well, sir, can you point to me what passage in here that has this?
Yeah.
That you might find I don't know. Or ma'am, can you tell me what, rubbed you the wrong way? And maybe if I understand better where you're coming from, because you can explain it clearly, we can have a meeting of the minds and we can come to common ground. Same thing happens with AI. I got involved with that, started playing. I was getting ready to be absent. And I said, well, you know what? I have to send out a letter to my staff. Why don't I see what this chat GPT can do? And let's make it fun. Because I was literally listening to Beyonce. And I was like, I wonder if chat GPT can do my letter with Beyonce songs. And I was just like, well, let's see. And I put the prompt in there and it came back. I was like, oh, this is clever. And I immediately had fun with it. And it's the same thing when we teach our kids with any type of content. If we can make it fun, if we can make it memorable, if we can make it engaging, that's the buy-in. That's how I hook you to come in to learn more. And so when people are just standoffish and they don't want to get involved, I'm like, if you just give it a chance. It reminds me of my mom when she used to try to dress me. Just try to dress on, girl. Just try it on. You might like it. When I put it on, I'm like, ooh, I look good in it. And so that's the same thing with AI. Just try it on. Have a little bit of fun with it and see if you can't find something about it that is remarkable, that takes your breath away. And so that's what I've been doing through the learning process. And I went from, I don't like it, this is going to be the end of humanity, to, well, hang on, we might be able to ride this dragon a little bit. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. And like you said, you train the dragon. I mean, that's really what we're doing whenever we use it. And also that's what the developers are doing on the back end when they continue to adjust the algorithm and, make changes to it. So
and it's why I want our kids doing with it, because this is going to be the future.
Yes.
They are saying right now, folks writing prompts, if they can understand the prompt engineering of AI, you can make that bank. I'm like, is that true? Because let me tell you, librarians make yay after 20 years. And if I, with 2 years experience, I could do that prompt writing and I can see the meager salary I have triple.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to get involved with this AI. I'm going to let you teach me how to help you.
Yeah.
In turn helps me.
Yeah. And think about the advantage that your kids get whenever they know that that's out there and they start to, man, I love the direction this is going. I'm so glad you brought up the Beyonce lyrics in your email. You shared that with me. I thought that was fantastic, but that's a logical segue into the next part of our conversation, which I've been looking forward to, which is, if you look at the title of our presentation, it's Navigating Bias and Engaging Students. So we've talked some about the bias, just sort of scratching the surface, but maybe starting the conversation for the people that haven't had a conversation.
Right.
But then we can also use it to do engaging things. Like you said, you wrote this, this like out of office email that had all of these Beyonce lyrics or these Beyonce song titles just kind of like squeezed into it just to be kind of fun. And, someone might look at that and think, oh, that's just that's just one silly little example and everything. But I don't know about you, but I think that one's kind of big. And I think it's very representative of what it can do for our class. And like you said in our earlier communication, what it can do to connect with you, to build those connections with certain students. Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely. We always talk about authentic connections and making the learning relevant. And what I thought when I was thinking this, using Beyonce, I was like, we're taking a cultural aspect and we're bringing it into the academic environment, and it's engaging. We always talk about we have to student engagement, student choice, student centered. Why not use that the music they're listening to in their earbuds to inspire their writing, to inspire their engagement with their teachers, their conversations? And ChatGPT gave that to me, because now when I sent it out, they're like, Mr. Darnell, how did you come up with this? And I was like, well, obviously you didn't read all the way to the bottom, because I said that ChatGPT helped me figure this out. But it was a conversation starter. It was, you really made me laugh today. So that's robots bringing humanity together, if that makes sense, because now we were talking about something completely has nothing to do with out of office email. But because I united the creativity of AI with what I needed to do, the task I needed to get done, then we had something completely brand new, right in the center of the spectrum of what AI brings and what humanity brings. And we kind of, sandwiched the two. And we made a BLT.
Yes, there you go. That's right. That's right. Oh my goodness.
That's what students can do. You could take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and bring it together and make it smack. I just had to rhyme. Literary in my ear. I just had to rhyme that. But that's what we can do if we give it a chance. And that's all I'm saying. And that's all I think you're saying is we're here. We're in this realm now. Let's give it a chance and see how humanity and the transfer, so to speak, of the human psyche to a robot, how we can make that, music. We could take a bass line, we could take a melody, and we could put it together. And so that's what we're doing right now with AI, and that's how we're incorporating it. And that's why I took the time to just really think of different ways that librarians and teachers can figure out how to use it on a daily basis without the threat of it taking over our lives or taking over our jobs, which is what we're scared of, because we've seen the movies Terminator, we've seen Total Recall. We flipped out when we thought they were going to put chips in our arms, and obviously they did not, but they did kind of, sort of, because I don't know about you, but I don't know how far I can go without this. Cell phone. So it's not my chip, but I exactly too, that Apple Watch. Yeah, exactly. And so, we're using it already without even thinking about it. So this is just another facet, so to speak, in the diamond that technology can be.
Yeah. I love your BLT analogy because you were talking about hitting it in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
That we're using some artificial intelligence, but we're also using what makes us special as humans.
Exactly.
And we're doing kind of a combination of both, because what some teachers thought AI was going to be was a big cheating tool for kids. And, granted, we will have some kids that will want to try to copy and paste things right out of AI without using their brains. But it's something special when we use a powerful tool like that. And we use the powerful tool between our ears that we've been gifted with to try to do something that brings the most of those powers together, which is fantastic. And I've also got to say, with that email that you wrote with the Beyonce lyrics, that makes my brain spin with all the possibilities. It makes me want to ask the question, if you used artificial intelligence to connect culturally and connect to the real lives of students or teachers or whomever, like, what else could we do in that same realm? How else could we make our teaching more relevant, make our activities more relevant, make our class discussions or our feedback or our examples or whatever, make it more relevant and authentic to our kids' lives, to our colleagues' lives, to the community's lives, like all of that stuff. Just having that question out there kind of gets me excited about AI in a new way.
Absolutely. And that's what I spent the morning doing, is tinkering with AI. How can I incorporate AI and Tupac into a lesson?
Oh, nice.
And they were like, And I was thinking, and I was like, well, if someone had never read this before, I've read it. I love it. I've had it since it came out. So I know the book. But for somebody who has no point of reference, maybe rap music wasn't their thing, but they want to connect with their kids, get onto ChatGPT and say, give me a summary of The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Tell me and give me 5 poems, since this is a poetry book, 5 poems that summarize or the insights and highlights of it. And then ChatGPT gave me back exactly that. Summarized the book and gave me 5 or 10 poems. I think I asked for 10. I don't know. I can't remember. But at least gave me 5 poems. It didn't include my favorite one from the book, but that's okay. I can add that. And I can do my own analysis of why it was important to me. Now I've connected my culture and my understanding to someone who completely had no point of reference, and we've built something new. That's what I'm talking about, the engagement that, you know, ChatGPT or AI can give us that we have never thought about in the classroom, or has been maybe too difficult to achieve because whether the teacher didn't want to sound like she was trying to be that hip, dangerous mind teacher and connect with, you know, the kids on a topic just because it was something they were interested in. But now we've given it an academic component, you know, and that's where the bridging is coming from.
You know, what you just brought up there led me to a question that I've thought about when it comes to this. Like, if we come up with a topic that we think is important to our students, and we try to let artificial intelligence, you know, integrate it into a lesson or integrate it into learning or something, but we don't know anything about it, and all of a sudden the result comes out, because we know that artificial intelligence doesn't get it right every single time. Like, I wonder if there, and tell me what you think about this, what your thoughts are on this. I wonder if there's a balance that we have to maintain. You know, like, do we have to know a little something about it to be able to make sure that it fits? Or, you know, like, I have this worry that, like, a teacher will stroll into school on Monday and be like, I'm going to incorporate some Tupac lyrics into this lesson, and then throw it out there. And, like, I just see possible problems with that if you have no prior context, or if you have no connection with the culture or anything like that. What's your take on all that?
I think it's great for them to use as a foundation to build knowledge. Okay. I don't think you could take everything you find in ChatGPT and immediately throw it out there without any kind of due diligence and investigating what content it was given, and then making sure that you are not coming off as tone deaf, for lack of better words, because you didn't do your investigative or critical analysis of what GPT kind of spat out. And so, we have to, you know, I don't think it's at that point yet that we can just trust it implicitly and say, oh, whatever ChatGPT says, it's the gospel. We know we're not there yet. But I think it is a starting point. It is that ground level maybe that we don't have, or, you know, could acquire with the right type of questioning, the right type of prompts, the right type of, you know, citations and investigation to what has been produced, to make sure that it is accurate, that it is relevant, and that it is truly going to connect. That's where we bring our humanness, so to speak, to the input or the output for what was inputted into the machine. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. I love what you just said there. Check that it's accurate, that it's relevant, and that it's going to truly connect. So that, you used this term earlier, and I think that this fits, so that you don't come off as tone deaf, right? Exactly. Like, yeah, exactly. No, I think that's great.
And I think tone deaf is really kind of some parts where AI is right now, just because it's still learning. So it doesn't have all of the acquisitions maybe humans have, because we've been living this in the every second, so to speak, of life. And so, it's in that tone deaf kind of, I'm learning, but I can still make 7 million mistakes a day. And it's just, you know, it's in its infancy. But just like you have to deal with a baby, you have to teach them how to walk, talk, grow, and eat, and all that. We have to teach AI how to walk, talk, and grow before we can release it and say that, all right, you're an adult now. You're an adult AI.
Yes, that's exactly right. So This has been really, really good so far. And as we're starting to wrap this up a little bit, I know that you've got some resources. Before we came on air, you were like, I want to make sure it's practical. I want to make sure that people can walk away with something that they can use. So I know for one, you've got that lesson that you included in your blog post that got picked up by PBS, but then you've also got these AI literacy prompts that people can use. So do you want to walk us through like any or all of the resources that people could use?
Absolutely. I just released this right now, like a few minutes ago. And basically, it is easy ways for you to use ChatGPT in an informative way so that you can use for teaching purposes. So I came up with 7 like prompts that you can immediately put into your classroom for lessons, for engagement, for discussions, just to bring AI to the kids, because I don't think they're really processing how AI is already here. They hear it on the news, but they're not really synthesizing it. And so I have these 7 tips that any educator can use. Of course, I'm going to take the literacy aspect of it because I am a librarian and ELA teacher. And so the first thing students can do with it, you can revise and edit. Use ChatGPT to proofread your essay if you've just typed it out. You don't have to, say rewrite it. You could if you wanted to, but if you just wanted to use it for the simple ease of check-in proofreading, you can do that. I also have number 2 on my list is the iceberg inquiry, which is a fancy way of saying, hey, you know how you can, when icebergs, we only see the top 20% of it sticking up out of the water, and the rest 80% is like expansive underwater. Use ChatGPT, use a prompt that way. Say, hey, I want to learn 20% about this topic, but that 20% needs to help me understand the 80% that's underwater, to stick with the iceberg analogy. And so I did that. I said, I want to learn more about book bans in the past 5 years, identify and share the most important 20% that will help me understand the remaining 80% of why books are being banned. And it gave me a very thorough, with 10-point bullets on ideas of why books are being banned just from the last 5 years. And so that was, that's literally me doing some investigative journalism, so to speak, with ChatGPT of how we got to the situation we are in the last 5 years. That's something that you can use in your classroom immediately. Just change the topic, change the prompt to whatever it is that you need to fit. And what I have, if you click on the little open buttons, it will take you to a Word document that shows exactly what I did, exactly the prompt I enter, and exactly what ChatGPT spat back out to us. And in this case, it wasn't trash so much. It really did line up with what we were talking about. And so if I move to continue on so we can be cognizant of everyone's time, the self-serving strategies I like because, if you want to learn a skill, ChatGPT can give you the framework or an outline for you to learn that skill. It can even give you a 30-day trajectory of plans, lesson plans, or steps that you need to take in order to achieve your goal. And in this one, I asked, well, what are the steps for me becoming mayor? Give me a 30-day outline of what I need to do if I want to kick off a mayoral campaign. So in social studies class, boom, right there. That's a lesson that you can use. We can kind of set up our classroom to where we're running for office. Everybody has their mayoral campaign. They can create posters. They can, build networks. They can talk to stakeholders. That's something that ChatGPT can do for you for inspiration purposes. Next one I have is sum and significance summaries. That's what I was talking about earlier when I talked about the rose that grew from concrete. That's when I used the Tupac book for someone that maybe has never even listened to the music. It could give you a book summary. It can hit the highlights for you. Students, you can use this. If you know you haven't read the book, but you're having a pop quiz tomorrow, get on ChatGPT, enter it in. Hey, summarize this book. Hit me with the top 5, ideas or themes or messages or whatever it is that this book should tell me. Don't just go in there empty-handed, Don't go in there and take that 0. Hello. We have so much technology out here. You bet you can at least get a 50 or a 60 on it versus a 0. Because, my house, my boys, I don't take zeros. I'm like, you put your name on the paper, you get 2 points.
Right, right.
But anyways, this is just different ways that we could use it. What I love about number 5, feedback from beyond, what was really cool is staying on the theme of book bans. I was like, we're going to have Edgar Allan Poe write about why kids should read scary books. I entered in that prompt. I was like, assume that you're Edgar Allan Poe and give me reasons why kids should read scary books. And it gave an excellent, now it was a 5-paragraph essay, but it gave us a framework to work from. It gave us speaking points. And so if a kid has to prepare a speech or he's in debate and, you know, the topic is book bans, now you got, you know, Edgar Allan Poe kind of, so to speak, speaking from his standpoint, his viewpoint on why it's important, why it's relevant, why whatever it is for your argument. These are different ways that you can use it immediately. Refining the design is what I have for problem solving. All of us have to deal with problems every single day. Use ChatGPT to solve your problems. If you have a problem and you have no idea where to begin, roll up to ChatGPT, enter in a prompt. This is my problem. You are a problem solver. Solve it for me. And it will give you something. Something is better than nothing. You know, so it's a way that we can incorporate it into the classroom. Problem solving, you can get some kind of solutions. I always say people that complain and don't offer solutions, you need to take a seat and let the people that are out there creating solutions, looking for solutions, do the dirty work. If you're just sitting there to whine and cry about it, oh, poor me, ain't nobody got time for that, to use the meme from years ago, but we really don't. So you're either going to get in there and row this boat with me, or I'm going to throw you overboard and let you splash about because I got work to do. Right. And last but not least, create something out of nothing. If you don't have an idea of where to begin, this might help you. And so I'm writing a blank. In this case, I said I'm writing a blog post on intellectual freedom, but I don't know where to begin. You know, I need 7 key facts. And also, by the way, since it's a blog post and I want my social media to pop, give me 3, you know, attention-grabbing blurbs that I can use. I put that into ChatGPT. It spat out some knowledge for me. I love the fact that ChatGPT can give you base knowledge when you have none. Yes. If I can sum it up short and sweet, it can give you a starting block. So you're not just out there, you know, floating in the wind with no idea of what to do and where to go. And so for teachers that are just coming out, educators that are brand new to AI, you don't know what to say, what to do, or how to tinker with it, how to play, this is a tool that you can use. This is something that you can take immediately and say, hey, I'm going to manipulate this. I gave you some great sentence stems, some prompt stems, for lack of better words, that you can use. And hey, give me feedback. I want to know what you say. I want to know if you tried it out and you thought it was great. Tag me on social media. Say, hey, Jean, I saw this. I saw your show. I tried this out. This is what happened. I will engage with you. I'll interact with you. I'll cheer you on. If you need me to take a look at some of the kids' stuff, if you have you need some grading done, shoot it to me. Scan it in. Email it to me. I'll help you out as best as I can, because I want everyone to have true engagement with AI, ChatGPT, whatever facet of it, because it's here. We're in this realm. We're in this world, and you're either going to sink or swim. And I'm trying to swim. I'm trying to swim well enough that I get to do the backstroke.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, wow. And that framework is incredible. And so I had the link up there for a little while. If you didn't get a chance to grab that, there's the bit.ly right there, bit.ly/AI, capital letters, the number 4, literacy with a capital L. And so just type that in there and you can make a copy of that, and you can click on I kept clicking on all those little links, and it's incredible that you've got all those extra little documents created with all of those. That's fantastic.
I was typing like a mad woman this morning. Do you know that I did not have this 24, like when I got to work at 7:30 this morning, this document did not exist. I spent my morning, I was like, you know, the little gift that pops around. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Because my ideas were just like, It was like ricocheting out my brain. And I was like, all right, all right, all right. And someone came to ask me something like, hey, Miss D, can I play games? I was like, I don't even care. Just let me know I'm on a roll.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
go
exactly.
off my thought. Chat GPT doesn't have to stress like that. So
that's true. That's true. Oh my goodness. Jean, this has been fantastic. And you just shared your social media with everybody. If anybody has seen this and feels like they need more of you in their lives, like where can they go? You've got a website for one, right?
Yes, awakenlibrarian.com. I'm the same handle at Twitter at awakenlibrarian. That's me. That's my brand. That's what I'm trying to put out here. So anytime if you just go on Google and put Awaken Librarian, I am the first thing that pops up. And I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But don't nobody try to go out there and steal my name so somebody else pops up. Please don't. I've worked very hard for this.
Nope. I think you own this one at this point. So. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, Jean, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing some of your experiences, some of your wisdom, some of your perspective. It's been fantastic for all of us that have gotten to hear.
Thank you so much, Matt. You're amazing. I'm glad we got to collaborate. We've been planning this, like you said, for how many weeks now? And now it's
a while.
Done.
Yeah.
I hope this takes off. I hope we get all the engagement in the world. But if not, even yet, the engagement with you was fantastic.
I feel the same way. Oh, thank you, Jean. And thank you so much, those of you that are watching. Thanks for being a part of this video and watching it. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, hit that subscribe button and go hit Jean up on social media because you're going to enjoy it. So until the next video, I'm Matt Miller. She's Jean Darnell. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye.